Welcome everybody to the Double D Express with Dr. Doug, where I'm here to rapidly express my views. Thank you. Okay. I'm here to express my views rapidly on some very toxic topics that people are afraid to talk about because they'll get into some sort of fist fight or something, all right? So, the topic for the day is talking to alphabet soup. Now, remember when we were kids, we used to use the alphabet soup. We could make letters out of it, and you could eat the letters and have fun because they became words. What are we talking about today? We're talking about that. The LGBTQ people, all right? That's the new alphabet soup. Okay? How many letters are they up to now? A dozen? How many genders? 50? I mean, letters and numbers are not an identity. That's a license plate. We want to have a conversation with them. But where are they? They're in the street, ranting and chanting. You can't have a conversation with that person, okay? And they do have their word out in front of them, equality, égalité in French. All right, in what sense do they want equality? I mean, it's kind of a straw man, stick woman if you want. They've already got equality under the Bill of Rights. Equality to freedom of speech, to assemble, to protection under the law. So what is equality they want? I think what they want is equality of ideas, that their ideas are equally valid with anybody else's, okay? That's different. But they just don't want their ideas to be treated equal. They want them to be treated as necessary. That's called orthodoxy in religion, meaning correct, straight thinking. And now we have freedom of speech from them as tyranny on us, because now we can't use our freedom of speech to express our views that are different. But we do want to have a conversation without being burned at the proverbial stake, right? Or stoning, where they throw words at us now. Racist, sexist, homophobe, misogynist, whatever. Nobody wants that stoning. So let's consider what we can do. All right? Rule 1 and debate 101. All right? Never reason with a fool or a foolish question. Because if you do, you just become the bigger jackass. That's right. Enough said. Rule number 2 in debate 101. Humor and laughter always beat anger and hatred. Okay? It's true all the time. When people are together and are laughing, they're happy, right? They're enjoying the time together, okay? They're clapping. They're in unison, okay? But comedians, in order to make us laugh, must make fun of someone's flaws, foibles, so we can laugh at them. They're typically exaggerated or stereotypes. And that makes laughter the most powerful behavior modifier to humans, because once you've laughed at someone foolish, then you don't want to become that person, because then you'll be laughed at as well. Don't have stupid ideas or do stupid things, okay? Very simple, all right? Now, when we were kids, we went to Sesame Street, but we're going to go to Bourbon Street, because there you can have a conversation over a few drinks, okay? We must understand that to the progressives, the LGBT community, words are magical, right? You put them in the right, pick the right words, you put them in the right order, you say them the right way over and over and over again, they will cause reality, all right? And that's where they're going with these, letters and 50 genders, right? They want to cause a reality. Well, what reality do they want to cause? That. Yeah, kind of scary. This is what we used to do in elementary school, middle school, right? It's a collage made up of different pieces of pictures from magazines. And you could create whatever face you wanted to. And it was kind of fun, right? But in the end, if this were the real person that we were trying to talk to, that would be kind of concerning, all right? In psychology, it's called polyphrenia. Schizophrenia is when you have one split personality. Polyphrenia is, poly means a lot of personalities. Well, which one am I talking to here? The left eye, right eye, lower chin, upper hair. What am I talking to? And that's the problem. because this is not going anywhere for a conversation. What's next? Interspecies, right? Remember, in myth there were the centaurs, all right? There's our fantasies, and that's fine to have imagination kind of carry out fantasies for some otherness of ourself, right? Centaurs, the half man, half horse, like these playful Legos, right? You snap different pieces together and you make a new one, right? And maybe you, as a kid, could say, oh, I'm the guy in the middle, all right? Or there were the satyrs, right? They're half man, half goat. And satyrs are playful in mythology because all they do is live a very carefree life. They play in the fields, they play their music, and they have sex with the nymphs. That's all they do. They don't have any big responsibilities, right? And that's really where this is going with people. They want to have a life that's constantly playful and never have to grow up. That's why he's called Peter Pan, because he lives in Neverland with the boys that never grow up. They don't want to become Captain Hook. But we can't be satyrs all our life. At some point, you got to grow up. Now, there are times in our life, in our culture, where we get to have playtime, right? Halloween, right? We get to dress up in all kinds of fun costumes, and for a day, we can be somebody other than ourselves, right? We can be a demon, a witch, an astronaut, and we can be playful about that. But then, you got to go to work, because you can't live in party time, all right? And this is where the struggle is with a lot of groups in the alphabet soup. They just want to be kids their whole life, all right? We can't wear costumes to work all the time. We got to get on with our life, okay? We got to go to work. We got to get a time to make money, have responsibilities, keep a job. Why gender distinctions anyway? Because that's kind of where it's going. It's why even have this? Why can't we just be whatever we want? Well, you got biology, okay? Yep. X's and Y's. Two letters that matter. Two X's make a girl, an X and a Y make a boy, all right? And then there's just nature itself, physics in Greek, where we use our senses to understand nature all around us, right? The birds and the bees, right? Birds realize that there's a male and female. The male goes out and courts the female in some way with song or dance, feathers, and then she picks a male. With the bees, it's the different flowers, but they're still male and female. The bee will take the pollen from the male, deposit it in the female flower, and now boom, we have pollination. There are just two genders in plants and animals, all right? Now, most of this time, gender is presented as a conflict, all right? Typically where Mars, the male god of war, is seen as trying to overpower those who are different, okay? What they don't realize is there's also female goddesses of war. In this case, Bellona, the Celtic goddess, Germanic goddess of war. Now here we have two very different ideas of what gods of war are like. Now for Mars, it's very strategic, all right? For Bellona, it's all about passion. She is raising the men up to go out and have the French Revolution, okay? It's a balance of opposites, not a conflict. And Confucianism, Buddhism, you have the yin, the female, and the yang, the male. And they work together to make things happen. In this case, we have the circle where it's not a straight line. They're in a curve. They're going around and causing something to happen, all right? They're working together. It's a composite, a composition, right? It's not a conflict. So we're not at war. And notice there's a little bit of the yin and the yang, and a little bit of the yang and the yin. We're not exactly total opposites. And it takes these opposites working together to actually make things happen, right? That's weather. Doesn't this kind of look like a hurricane? You got to have hot and cold hitting high versus low pressure, right? Dry versus wet. and that causes weather, which is rooted in the word wet, rain. And water is the basis of life. Now you see how the opposites work together to create something that works for life. What are we really doing in this conversation with the alphabet soup? It's really the game of the phonetics name game, all right? Phonetics, words that sounds, phonetic values to objects and actions, okay? Like nouns for objects, okay? Here we have an object, right? And in different languages, it's given a different phonetic value, okay? To the Greeks, it's a dendron. To the French, it's an arbor. To me, growing up as a kid, it was a tree. In particular, it was an oak tree. All right, different phonetic values, but the same object. We need to understand, agree on a vocabulary so that we can communicate with each other. Right? Romeo and Juliet. The way to avoid anger with a conversation is always go either to poetry or humor. All right. Romeo and Juliet were this couple from two different families, and he felt like he couldn't marry her because it would bring the conflict in the families together. And her response is really the answer to all of this, right? She says, what's in a name? A rose by any other name is still a rose, right? There you go. It would still smell as sweet. Now let's apply that principle to our topic, gender. A boy by any other name is still a boy, and a girl by any other name is still a girl, and a moron by any other name is still a moron. See how it works? Poetry, humor, okay? So, what are we going to here? To be or not to be. A great line in Hamlet, all right? He's struggling to see how he fits into the overall picture of life. God, his mother, his dead father. What he realizes is that a rose by any other name is still a rose. All right? Like a beautiful bouquet, right? They're still roses, different colors, different achievements, right? But in the end, they're all working together in that beautiful bouquet. And remember, the secret to happiness, as I was told, the biggest secret, is not winning the last argument. It's having the last laugh. And that's what you want in your conversations with the alphabet soup people, okay? So, beautiful ending. Where are we then? The Double D Express with Dr. Doug. I hope you gained something from this. Remember, comedy is the biggest way to overcome anger and hatred. And then throw in some poetry too. Until next time, Dr. Doug.